Hello, good evening. Welcome to ITV News. This is Tuesday night's calendar.
And here are tonight's main stories.
Targeted by a stranger, the victim of an unprovoked attack speaks out about its life-changing impact.
I basically got a portion of my skull here that's been removed to accommodate for the swelling that I got from the trauma that when I hit the road, basically.
Police investigate as hundreds of fish die after a sluice gate in a South Yorkshire reservoir is opened.
Trouble is brewing, how rising costs are putting the beer industry under threat.
In blunt terms, if we were to pass every single one of our costs on to our customers and therefore the consumers, people would be paying way over £10 a pint.
And Sheffield United versus Wrexham, the sequel. Can the Blades cut down Ryan Reynolds' men? Good evening. An assault victim who was left with a brain injury so severe he had to have half his skull removed says he simply doesn't understand why he was targeted in the unprovoked street attack.
Braden Stromberg from Mansfield was knocked unconscious by a single punch thrown by a virtual stranger. Braden's attacker has now been jailed for less than 2 years, but Braden says his life has been changed forever by a split second of senseless violence. John Hill reports.
You reckon, bro?
Braden Stromberg was a fit young man. Now this is his new reality. A helmet protects his skull. A simple knock from a cupboard door could have devastating consequences. And this is why.
I got a portion of my skull here that's been removed to accommodate for the swelling that I got from the trauma that when I hit the road, basically.
This is the moment Braden's life changed forever. A chance encounter last summer in Bolsover with Kyle Stevenson, a man he barely knew. Stevenson launched an unprovoked attack which left Braden in a coma for 2 weeks on the brink of death.
Absolutely horrendous. Every minute of every second of every day we thought the machine's going to stop, we're going to lose him. Nearly lost him several times. It was horrendous. It's got to be the hardest thing. That we, apart from losing our parents.
And then when he woke up?
It was as though it was as though he'd been reborn. I'd got my boy back.
Braden has come back from the precipice, but at a dreadful cost. The removal of a section of his skull measuring 14 by 15 centimetres.
It's very like a soft part of my head where if anything hits it, it could potentially be fatal. It could be another brain injury, another brain bleed. Just as easy as a cupboard door being left open.
Kyle Stevenson has now been jailed for 1 year and 10.5 months after pleading guilty to causing grievous bodily harm. For Braden's mother, the sentence too short.
Appalling, because by the time they've took the amount of days off that he's been out on tag, and that they did lock him up for 7 days, and good behaviour, you know what I mean? You can get pregnant and give birth to a baby for the length of time he's going to be in there.
Despite the trauma, Braden is looking forward to the future and to more surgery.
I might be the only person in the world looking forward to having the head cut open.
Well, I'm dreading you having it done, but can't wait for you to have it done.
Yeah, me too.
Doctors will fit a titanium plate to replace the missing section of skull. Braden hopes it will allow him to return to something like the life he used to enjoy. John Hill, ITV News.
And of course we wish Braden all the best for the future. In other news tonight, a woman remains under arrest on suspicion of attempted murder after 3 children were stabbed in Huddersfield. Police were called to a house on Walpole Road yesterday morning. A 4-year-old girl and 3-month-old baby are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. A 2-year-old boy remains in a serious but stable condition. The woman, who's 34, also had stab wounds and is being treated in hospital.
The England and Wales Cricket Board's hearing into allegations of racism and bullying against the former Yorkshire cricketer Azeem Rafiq has been set for March the 1st. Yorkshire County Cricket Club will no longer be participating in the hearing as they've accepted 4 charges, including failure to address systemic use of racist language over a 17-year period. 7 former players have also been charged, but 6 have said they will no longer be taking part. Former England captain Michael Vaughan is the only one set to appear at the hearing next month.
Hundreds of fish have died at a reservoir in South Yorkshire after a sluice gate was opened. Anglers say it's an environmental disaster as some of the carp involved were over 30 years old and worth hundreds of pounds.
South Yorkshire Police say they're investigating the incident at Hart Hill Reservoir near Sheffield. Our reporter Martin Fisher went to see the aftermath, and whilst there, dead fish were still being recovered in a nearby watercourse.
Hart Hill Reservoir, a watercourse that attracts some of the best anglers from all over the country. Its mature fish stocks, particularly of carp, part of the attraction. But after a sluice gate was opened, fish were washed into a nearby brook, killing hundreds.
I'm 33 years old. Some of these fish are a lot older than I am. And people in the local community, these fish have been here way before them.
Now, the sluice gate is underwater at the moment, just towards the end of this scale. And once that sluice gate was opened, the fish went underneath this embankment and travelled underground to roughly where that tree line is. Now, they might have survived that journey, but once they got out into the brook over there, well, that's when things got really difficult for them. Ben managed to rescue around 11 carp. Some are over 30 years old and worth hundreds of pounds.
We've come into a shallow brook that's nothing like what they used to at all. So
Full of stones and things that they just can't cope with.
full of rocks, too shallow, oxygen levels low, and again, with water being pumped out, which was the last of the water, it was just thick silt as opposed to nice fresh water that they used to.
And they were quite battered when you were trying to rescue them.
A lot of them were destroyed. A lot of them were still alive, but even the ones that were alive, fins missing, scales ripped off, just absolutely destroyed.
It's not known who opened the sluice gate. South Yorkshire Police are investigating the incident under the Animal Welfare Act.
Often people don't consider fish to be sort of comparable with other animals. Often I think because fish are sort of invisible to most people because they're sort of below the water. And certainly if this was a kill of mammals, and then there'd be more general sort of public uproar.
It's not known exactly how many fish were killed. Today, as we filmed, more were still surfacing.
Water's cold. It's all right. But
And how old would that fish have been?
5-year-old, that one. Good 5-year-old. Say they start off tiny like that. You can catch them that big.
Many of the mature carp could take years to replace. Only the quick action of Ben and other anglers saving a few of the lucky ones. Martin Fisher, ITV News, near Sheffield.
What a waste to see all that happening.
Very sad.
Next tonight, to the rising cost of producing a pint, forcing brewers to put up prices and triggering fears among some that more pub and brewery closures are imminent.
In the last 3 months of last year, 183 licensed premises in Yorkshire closed and 74 pubs in the county have shut since the summer.
Now a group representing pubs and breweries has written to the Business Secretary calling for the government to intervene to prevent even more going under. Michael Billington reports from North Yorkshire.
In the beer industry, trouble is brewing. At Massam's Black Sheep Brewery, they're managing to make the numbers stack up, but it's not been easy.
Energy, fuel, hops, grains, malts, everything has gone up. It's a bit of a perfect storm, really.
They've been forced to increase prices, having already shouldered much of the financial burden themselves in the last 12 months.
A lot of our competitors have increased their prices, understandably. We haven't. We've absorbed as many of the costs as we've been able to. We've just put another price increase through now. The increase that we've put through is absolutely not a fraction of the increased costs that we're being impacted with. In blunt terms, if we were to pass every single one of our costs on to our customers and therefore the consumers, people would be paying way over £10 a pint, which we all know is absolutely not an option and would never be sustainable.
The British Beer and Pub Association says the price of some raw ingredients like malt has almost doubled. The combination of rising costs has seen some breweries increase beer prices by up to a fifth. It means pubs are feeling the squeeze too, and not just from beer prices.
Got 2 stampies? Oh yes, lovely. Food suppliers, that's almost like death by 1,000 cuts, because you get if a price will go up by a little bit 1 week, and then next week, oh, it's gone up again, and then a bit more and a bit more. We've been lucky, our electric has been fixed. up until the end of this month. But it's a bit like, the juggernauts heading towards us with the lights on full, and we're standing there like a frightened rabbit. We're taking what precautions we can, but I think we're going to get thwacked by it anyway, so we'll just see how badly.
Now a group of trade bodies representing the beer industry has written to the government saying a third of pubs face collapse in the next 12 months without more support.
We need to see beer tax come down, support on business rates, and really ensuring that consumers feel confident to move forward if we're to save the Great British Pub and our Great British brewers.
The government insists it is on the side of small businesses, including breweries, providing an unprecedented £18 billion package of energy support this winter, alongside a 6-month extension to the alcohol duty freeze. But it seems that for many in this industry, the glass that was once half full is now getting emptier by the minute.
There's going to be a period when we say, right, this is the reckoning time and we've got to put everything up. But then we're going to lose out. It's not just a case of putting up your prices and everybody flocks in and pays those prices without complaining. We're in Yorkshire, let's face it.
Yeah, and there's still plenty more to come before we can go for a pint tonight, Laura. You're watching Tuesday's calendar. Still to come on the programme this evening. Back on the track, cyclist Katie Nichols sets her sights on the Olympics after returning from maternity leave.
And under those clearer skies with light winds today, it's going to be a cold, a frosty and a foggy one overnight tonight. All the detail a little later on.
Now, here's a question for you. Should thousands of asylum seekers living in temporary accommodation in our region be allowed to work?
Currently, they're not permitted to earn money and receive £45 a week from the government while they wait to see if they can stay in this country. But charities who help asylum seekers say that's not enough and it's driving them into destitution.
Meanwhile, the International Rescue Committee says 65% of businesses think allowing asylum seekers to work would have a positive effect on the UK economy. Chloe Oliver has the details.
They came to the UK in search of safety. But now many asylum seekers find themselves in limbo. Can they stay or will they have to go home? That's how people told me they felt at this refugee hub. Some here have been waiting years for their applications to be processed by the government.
I come to the England exactly 8 January 2003. And now is 2023. Normal citizen. That's my dream. Freedom. Normal citizen.
We come from Afghanistan. Before in Afghanistan, I work as a director of one organization. If my application is accepted, we can easily my normal life. We lose everything.
People seeking asylum are given somewhere to live and a £45 per week allowance to cover food, essentials and travel. Many asylum seekers volunteer, like Kadiatu Conte, who helps others to learn English. But crucially, they're not allowed to work, and that can be tough.
My daughter is going to a big school now, and so many activities she wants to do, she can't do because of our immigration status, so it doesn't make me feel good, but for her sake I have to make myself a little bit happy for her to be happy.
UK vacancy rates hit a record high of 1.3 million last year, the latest figures showing 1.2 million jobs available, and there are approximately 127,000 asylum seekers awaiting permanent refugee status, who some say could help to fill some of those vacancies. Workplaces like Valleywood Care Home in Sheffield.
It's been really challenging finding staff to work in social care. It doesn't have a phenomenal reputation. It's not as well paid as it could be, and there's so much competition. So it seems so sensible that you would be able to employ asylum seekers and refugees. You have vetting processes, you check people, you interview them. They've got skills and experience, they want to work. Why would we not welcome them?
Shamila Dana is a migrant herself and set up the refugee hub.
When you speak to people, you begin to realise they're architects, they're bakers, they're entrepreneurs, they're teachers, they're nurses, they're doctors. So if you're coming from a place where you were always working and providing for your family, and you can't do that, it really has an impact on people's morale.
According to officials, the reason for the restrictive policy is to ensure that those looking to move here are doing so for safety and not for economic reasons. But could allowing them to fill some of those vacancies give the economy a boost, as well as the morale of those waiting? Chloe Oliver, ITV News.
In a statement, a Home Office spokesperson said asylum seekers can take up jobs on the shortage occupation list if their claim has been outstanding for 12 months or more through no fault of their own. Allowing asylum seekers the right to work sooner would undermine our wider economic migration policy by enabling migrants to bypass work visa rules.
Next, nurses have taken to picket lines across Yorkshire for a second day in a dispute over pay and conditions. Elsewhere in the NHS, pharmacists are working with doctors' surgeries in Leeds to take some of the burden off overstretched GPs. A new scheme trains GP receptionists to identify which patients can be seen by a pharmacist instead of a doctor. The newly built Alwoodley Medical Centre is one of those taking part in the so-called referral pathway. Staff say it ensures patients get a same-day appointment with the right clinician.
Once they've had the consultation, if they deem that they do need a GP appointment, they will refer them back the same day as well, so they will be still seen by a clinician on the same day.
People think that we are trying to fob them away from GPs, but that's not the case. It's just we want them to get the proper care. So it's just about educating the patients and, you know, showing them that there is a different way to be seen.
And if you want to share your experiences of using the NHS recently, both positive and less so, well, do drop us a line. Our email address is calendar@itv.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30, dominated by the destruction caused by the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Here's Charlene White.
Coming up on the programme, the latest from the earthquake in Turkey and Syria as the search through the rubble grows more desperate. Thousands are now confirmed dead. We'll be on the ground in Turkey with rescue crews overwhelmed by the scale of the disaster.
Take a look at the amount of devastation there is. Just in this small area, it's thought that 100 people are trapped.
Across both countries, those buried are still being found alive, giving hope for those with missing loved ones, including people here in the UK, many collecting aid parcels as they wait to hear whether relatives are safe. We'll have all of that and the rest of the day's news from 6:30.
Now, I'm sure many parents will testify bringing up toddlers can be stressful, but how about doing it while also trying to qualify for the Olympic Games?
Speaking from experience, bringing up the toddlers but not trying to qualify for the Olympic Games is quite difficult, isn't it? But anyway, the situation facing cyclist Katie Nichols, who's formerly Katie Marchant from Leeds, she's doing exactly that. The bronze medalist from Rio 7 years ago is aiming to qualify for her third Olympics.
And that qualification period begins this week with the European Championships in Switzerland. And before she flew out, Chris Dawkes caught up with Katie at the National Cycling Centre in Manchester.
From changing nappies to changing gears. 7 months on from giving birth to little Arthur, Katie Nichols is back in the saddle and preparing for her first major competition as a mum.
I feel like I'm starting like a career 2.0. I've been given a golden opportunity to just push my body even more and see where I can get to, and yeah, I'm just loving it and really excited by the challenge. I absolutely love a challenge, so let's see what we can do.
Have you got Arthur on a bike yet?
He's already been on a little balance bike, but his legs are just a little bit short at the minute. But I'm hoping I'm not going to force him to do anything, but I'm hoping he's going to be into like some sort of sport or whatever. But I remember riding a bike and learning to ride a bike when I was a tiny baby, so he'll be on there soon.
When Katie was just slightly older than Arthur is now, she trained as a heptathlete alongside Jessica Ennis-Hill. Now, like Katie, Jess returned to athletics after becoming a mum, winning her third world title.
Is Jess an inspiration to you?
Oh, 100%, you know, like everyone that has done it, it's nice to look around and see that it is possible. Everyone's experience is completely different and it's possible for some and it's not possible for others, but it's nice to just have them people to be able to see and just think, if she can do it, I can do it. And yeah, again, like, it just makes you want to take on that challenge.
Katie rode to prominence after winning bronze at the Rio Olympics in 2016. This week's European Championships in Switzerland is the first qualification event for next year's Olympics in Paris.
I know what it's like to go to an Olympics, and to potentially challenge myself to go to a third is absolutely unreal. And yeah, I feel blessed to be in a position to be able to do that, and we'll just see where the next 18 months takes us. And yeah, Arthur will be 2 by then, so I can imagine he'll absolutely understand a little bit of what's going on then, which will be amazing. So hopefully you'll see me and Arthur in Paris.
I'd say the hard work starts now, but for Katie, well, that really began 7 months ago. Chris Dawkes, ITV News, Manchester.
Oh, he's a cute little boy, isn't he?
Certainly likes a challenge.
Yeah, she does. Now, Leeds United caretaker manager Michael Skubala has got his hands full as well. He's spoken for the first time since taking over from Jesse Marsh, who was sacked yesterday. Skubala steps up from coaching the under-21s while the board looks to appoint a new head coach. The 52-year-old says he can understand the club's decision and spoke of the mood of the players.
The team was working hard for Jesse. But they're used to change as professional football, and they're professional football athletes, and I think the mood is, I wouldn't say down, but the mood is okay. Jesse did a great job. He tried to build a team and a way of playing, and ultimately, the board decided that we didn't think it was getting enough points, and it's a points-based industry.
And there's nothing quite like an FA Cup replay, and this evening Sheffield United are hoping they won't be on the end of a giant killing as they take on Wrexham from the National League.
The Red Dragons, financed by Hollywood stars Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, almost made it to the 5th round in the last tie, but for a last-ditch Blades equaliser breaking Welsh hearts.
Tonight the Blades are hoping to slay the Dragons and prepare for a mouth-watering home tie against Spurs. Excitement is building for the match. Adam Fowler has been at Bramall Lane.
That's right, you can see the security behind me, and it's been pretty much like that since 11 o'clock this morning, and excitement's been building in the calendar office as well. Last week all the talk was about how we might try and get an exclusive interview with Ryan Reynolds. Then it turned into, well, maybe we won't get that, maybe we can get a guy in a Deadpool costume to walk around the local area. By the time I turned up this morning, we had cardboard cutout of Ryan Reynolds' face, but you aim for the stars, you fall in the treetops, don't you? I've been taking this around the local area to see what kind of a reception the Welcome to Wrexham star might get if he was welcome in Sheffield tonight.
When Sheffield United took on Wrexham in Wales, Ryan Reynolds received plenty of love from the crowd. Maybe he'd get a similar reception here. That is, if you can find anyone who's heard of him.
What is it? I know what it is, from Wrexham, Ryan...
Nearly.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. You don't know who he is? Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham. Who is he?
Ryan Reynolds, he owns a football club called Port Owns.
Wrexham, he owns Wrexham.
Yeah.
Is that Harry Kane?
Who? Harry Kane? Yeah. No, it's not Harry Kane.
Oh, that film star, is it?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
I don't, I'm not into whole that films, this, that, or that.
Have a guess who he is.
You.
Well, he's not me, but I'm very flattered. You Ryan Reynolds fans?
No.
No, you don't like him?
I think he's all right.
Do you think he's all right?
Yeah. Speaking to the Sheffield
Ryan's
side.
okay.
Yeah.
Ryan's okay. I hope he loses tonight, to be honest.
Great actor. Yeah, he has got a lovely wife. If he brings her, he can come.
Who do you think's going to win?
I've got my doubts. I think they could turn Sheffield United over because they're playing so rubbish at the moment.
Yeah.
They've played all right.
Yeah.
So it's up to you and I, isn't it?
While he may not be known by everyone, the star of Tinseltown would still receive a warm welcome here in the Steel City.
I think he'll get a good welcome. I think everyone loves him. Everyone loves Ryan Reynolds. Look at him. He's a handsome man, isn't it?
You think they'll roll out the red carpet?
Yes, definitely. He's a good man. I like him so much. I actually love him so much. If he's here now, I'll go crazy, really.
We welcome everybody.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course we do. We're Sheffield.
I'm sure Sheffield will welcome anyone.
So if you're watching, Ryan, you're very welcome in Sheffield. But then again, most people are.
There we go, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Anyway, it kicks off here at 7:45. The winner will take on the Premier League team Tottenham. So good luck to everybody concerned, I say.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind taking a little cardboard cutout of Adam and taking it round on a stake around Sheffield, see what reaction it got.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You're a Sheffield lass. Would you welcome Ryan Reynolds?
Well, yeah, I might have had one time for a Christmas present one of those snow globes with Ryan Reynolds' face on it.
You never did.
I might have. Someone might have bought it me.
Oh!
But yeah, he's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
You've got all hot and flustered.
Well, it's been gorgeous in Sheffield today. Pure blue skies mostly, and it was actually our hottest place in the region, 11 Celsius. But anyone heading out there for that match overnight tonight will get a bit of a shock because it starts off, I don't know, average or just above, but by the time you get to half time, and especially by the time you're heading home, it's going to be pretty chilly, 2 or 3 Celsius. But not everybody had the clear skies and the sunshine, but some beautiful photographs from other parts of the region. Ogden Water in Halifax, a big thank you to Glimbeck for this gorgeous one. And you can see there's a little bit of cloud forming during the course of today, but that non-rain bearing cloud. So it was a mixture of the high level, the cirrus cloud, and the alto, the mid-level cirrus cloud. So altocumulus, the mackerel sky as we'd know it, just starting to form here in Thornton in Craven. A big thank you to Zoe Hodkinson for this one in North Yorkshire. And you can see just a little bit more cloud in Great Preston, but still some breaks in there indicating the higher level wind direction, but nothing rain bearing. So that's all good news for at least tonight and through into tomorrow.
So are the blue skies going to stay?
Yeah, I think so. We've got high pressure in charge at the moment, which gave this absolutely gorgeous shot in Lady Bower. But if we run the sequence through into the next couple of days, we've got a weather front coming down just tomorrow night, so we probably sleep through it. And then the high pressure builds again towards the weekend. So yes, perhaps the isobars are a little bit tighter by the end of the week, perhaps a little bit more cloud around, but we are expecting that high to dominate. So what it does for us is basically keep any really significant weather fronts at bay. So maybe a little bit more cloud around at times, but you know what? Predominantly over the next few days, it's going to stay dry. Here is your forecast.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, so it was a little bit all or nothing across the region today, either blue skies or cloud. You can see it progressing from the north and west over Upper Thong earlier on. A big thank you to Sandy Nicholson for sharing. Also above Huddersfield, a big thank you to Angie Williams for sharing this shot, and also Roy Hinchcliffe for sharing this shot. Weather photos at itv.com, and seen clearly here above Menston and Otley. A big thank you to Liz Worley for sharing. And you can see it on this morning and this afternoon satellite picture. All or nothing. Further south to parts of South and East Yorkshire getting the lion's share of the sunshine during the course of today. Now most of that cloud will disperse, or at least push a little bit further northwards overnight tonight. So we are largely clear with light winds and therefore largely cold. Temperatures will be hovering just below or just above freezing, and certainly in parts of rural Derbyshire and parts of North Nottinghamshire, perhaps down as low as -2 or -3 Celsius. So definitely a chilly start as we head into tomorrow. 7:41 and just gone 5 o'clock ISN times. Maybe some freezing fog patches and frosty conditions first thing tomorrow. Fairly slow to clear, and there will be some high clouds, so bright rather than sunny, but it's a mostly dry day. A noticeable breeze into the afternoon, and temperatures just above average at around 7 or 8 Celsius for most of us. And then we do have this system coming through during the latter part of tomorrow evening, but behind that it's still fairly decent for Thursday. Highs of 7 or 8 once more, and a decent dose of sunshine. Now as we head into Friday and Saturday, mostly dry, but maybe some rain and drizzle out of any thicker cloud as we head into the first part of the weekend. Chilly under any clearer skies, but the emphasis on mostly dry.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go, that's your forecast.
Have you two calmed down yet? I've never seen anything like it.
Do you know, I'm not surprised that you had a snow globe, but I thought you'd have John Mitchell in it.
Oh, I've got one of those too.
Oh, good. Pleased to hear it.
That is all from Calendar for tonight. Back again after news at 10, and see you tomorrow at 6. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.